I want to talk about happiness and joy, and I want to tell you what they are in the way I use those words and how happiness and joy are different from each other. There's a verse in the Bible which says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." And there's another verse which tells us that the fruit of the Spirit is joy. And when I talk about joy, I'm talking about a spiritual, divinely given experience which is quite different from happiness, and which to me seems like an underground stream sometimes, and whatever's going on the surface in terms of happiness or sadness, sorrow, worry, achievement, gladness, this stream, which is the joy of the Lord, remains in your spirit and never stops flowing. That is what I mean by joy. I use the word happy to refer to happiness of this world, the sort that anyone can experience if they have good enough circumstances. And of course, for every one of us, there can be many happy times. So, what are our happiest times? Is it perhaps when we leave school and start work? There I am, when I have a short while ago left school. Is it when we get our first car? That is my first car. Is it our wedding day? And there's my wife and me making our promises to each other at the front of a congregation. Is it when we move into our first married home with our wife or our husband? That's ours, of course. Or the birth of our children, perhaps. Or perhaps Christmases that we've enjoyed as a family over the years, over the decades. It could be when we retire. I enjoyed many years of my work, and I used to work in that little office. But after I retired, I've had, so far, 10 very good and happy years. All of these things, and much, much more, can bring happiness to us in this life, in this world. But for me, the happiest times of all have been when I've been on holiday with my wife Margaret in Greece. The first time we went was in 1997, when we went to the part of Greece known as Epirus. There you see a photograph from that holiday. And the most recent time was when we went to Crete in 2019. And we developed the habit of going every year, unless of course something like ill health or whatever it might be occurred to stop us. My happiest times. And then something happened. The COVID pandemic started, and I began to feel, will we ever see Greece again? Have the happiest times which this world has given me come to an end, will never be repeated? We couldn't go in 2020 or 21. 2022, there were still a lot of restrictions in various countries. I believe, including Greece, there was chaos at airports, there was cancellation of flights. Will we ever see Greece again? Has that happiness ended forever? And another reason why happiness comes to an end, in the sense of those experiences which we can repeat and look forward to and make us happy, another reason is that age builds up. The day before that photograph was taken, I achieved the age of 75, and somebody quite soon said to me, "You're nearer now to 80 than to 70. There will come a time, if it hasn't already, when I'm simply feeling too old to do the things which used to give me the greatest happiness in this sublunary world. So why does God give us happiness? Is it because he's mean and likes to see us coming to a point where all we feel is loss, a dead end? Is God cynical like that, teasing us and tantalising us with something which he knows, because he made it, can never last? Or does he give us happiness as a signpost towards a destination which still lies before his people? Think of this hymn by Adelaide Proctor. I thank thee more that all our joy is touched with pain, that shadows fall on brightest hours, that thorns remain, so that earth's bliss may be our guide and not our chain. I thank thee, Lord, that thou hast kept the best in store. We have enough, yet not too much to long for more, a yearning for a deeper peace, not known before. The Christian's destination is one where happiness and joy will be blended together. And the Bible says this: I saw a new heaven and a new earth. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the dwelling of God is with men. He will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, for the former things have passed away. The Christian's destination is not an unending, disembodied existence in some unimaginable ethereal world, but it's a new heaven and a new earth. This world, if you like, cleansed and made new. And Isaiah talks about the heritage of the Lord's people in this way: the ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with singing, and everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. And now we're going to have a short reading from C.S. Lewis. The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. It's the last of the Narnia stories, and towards the end, Narnia has come to the end of its life and is about to be wound up. And the characters must leave the Narnia they've come to love, as you and I must one day leave this world that we've come to love, and as this world itself will one day be wound up and done away. And they go to be in Aslan's country, the eternal, everlasting, real Narnia. The eagle is right, said the Lord Diggory. Listen, Peter, when Aslan said you could never go back to Narnia, he meant the Narnia you were thinking of. But that was not the real Narnia. That had a beginning and an end. It was only a shadow or a copy of the real Narnia, which has always been here and always will be here, just as our world, England and all, is only a shadow or copy of something in Aslan's real world. You need not mourn over Narnia, Lucy. All of the old Narnia that mattered, all the dear creatures, have been drawn into the real Narnia through the door. And of course it is different as a real thing is from a shadow, or as waking life is from a dream. And then on the next page, this is what one of the characters says. It was the unicorn who summed up what everyone was feeling. He stamped his right forehoof on the ground and neighed, and then cried, I have come home at last. This is my real country. I belong here. This is the land I have been looking for all my life, though I never knew it till now. The reason why we loved the old Narnia is that it sometimes looked a little like this. Bree hee hee, come further up, come further in.